The other 8U team in town didn't have as much glamour or hype, but they had just as much talent as Wyckoff White. A group of relative unknowns that didn't play together before had to come together to become one. Head coach Scott Tubbs led the team, teaching the fundamentals of baseball. This team came together as separate people, but by the end of their first summer, they became a team destined for great things.
My first head coaching job, 8U, and I got asked to coach the Wyckoff, what turned out to be the Green team, which will go down probably in Wyckoff history as clearly a huge underdog, but one of the greatest dynasties in all of Wyckoff.
8U, I tried out for the Wyckoff team. A bunch of my buddies from Lincoln Elementary School were trying out as well, and ended up getting cut my first year trying out. I was 7 trying out for the 8U team, so it was a little bit of a stretch, but got cut from the team and decided to take my talents to a PBI.
So 8U 2008 Wyckoff Green Raiders was my first year playing travel baseball. Everything prior to that was rec baseball.
Yeah, Wyckoff Green 8U was my first time on a team. I wasn't really sure what to expect, if I was going to make it or not, but yeah, I was just glad to be there.
No, this actually wasn't the first year I played baseball. The year before I played for Coach Flager on the Wyckoff baseball team. We had a solid group of guys and we almost made it to Connecticut that year.
You know, the main goals for the first season, not too tough. Just wanted to go undefeated, win every game by mercy rule. And, you know, since they were 8 years old, we need to toughen them up a little bit.
Well, we used to play, rec ball with a lot of the guys, Harrison Klein, John Hooley, Anthony Gino, he was on the team, he was younger, but we played with a lot of those guys. So we had some good chemistry going in. I felt like we had better chemistry than Wyckoff White because as I said, we played together, but I was very confident.
We have our first practice at Cornerstone. I get to know everybody. We see a great core group of guys, solid 12 out there with a bunch of good coaches. We see a lot of upside on this team. We think we can make some noise. And I just remember I'm heading straight to right field where my natural element is, and I see our second baseman's a lefty, and I'm like, second base? Isn't that usually supposed to be a righty position? We saw David Ring, he's hitting him out of Cornerstone. I've never seen anyone have that kind of power. And we see just Jack Hagan, pounds the zone. We just haven't seen any players like that before.
The Green Raiders were ready for their first ever game as a team, playing in the 2009 Memorial Day tournament at Foschini Park in Hackensack. Their first game was against Clarkstown. With this inexperienced Raiders team, they didn't know what was coming.
Coaching the first game at the main field at 8U, and I chose Gary Zern, Mr. Zern, to be my bench coach. And those of you know Gary, he was as big and as tough as they come, and his job was to keep parents and non-players away from the dugout.
These guys came out of nowhere. We've never seen any kind of talent. It just hit us out of nowhere. We weren't ready. It just wasn't our day.
We had 3 runs, 3 inside the park home runs, me, Mikey, and Luke. And we lost like 11-3 or something though.
But they definitely let us know their names, let us know who they were, and we didn't forget that game.
The matchup the players have been waiting for was finally here. It was the first ever matchup between Wyckoff White and Wyckoff Green at Cornerstone. The hyped-up Wyckoff White team was very determined to make a statement, but Wyckoff Green wasn't going down without a fight.
Let me show you a clip of what Casey Hunt said about Wyckoff Green. Wyckoff Green was never a threat to us. Usually Clarkstown and Pearl River were one of the bigger threats to us. We didn't really talk about Wyckoff Green. They were in the same town, but just like whatever.
I mean, if you ever see this kid again, I would recommend to remind him of the 2 dingers I had against him in both the victory occurrences, Wyckoff White versus Wyckoff Green. But I mean, hey, that's his opinion. What can I say?
No, they were never a threat. Come on. We were always the better team. It wasn't debatable. It was me, Casey, Seti was on it, Conti was on it, Tommy Testa, big factor. We were always the better team. I didn't think it was debatable.
They kind of made them sound like
they were legends. You know, I heard about Casey Hunt. He threw as hard as anyone. He could hit it as far as anyone. Tyler Sedlak. I knew John Hooley, but I heard, you know, he played well. But honestly, I was a little disappointed when I saw them in person. You know, they were really overhyped and overrated.
I feared Kyle Tubbs and Samson Kupferberg, definitely. Samson and Kyle just had this ferocity that I just was infatuated with. Their tenacity towards the game, their composure, the different routines, oh man, they were scary. But Wyckoff Green as a whole, never. Wyckoff Green was just like a fart. Just a piece of dust behind me, and Wyckoff White. Me and Wyckoff White.
You know, we knew that they were one of our top competitions. Them, Franklin Lakes, Clarkstown, but we really didn't fear them. We thought we had everything it took to beat them in any setting.
Yeah, for a while I did hear a lot about the dominance of the Wyckoff White baseball team. Yeah, there are a lot of rumors going around that Casey pitched really fast, but no, I think we were up there with them. You know, we had a lot of depth, and I think the green team was just as good, if not better.
First game of Wyckoff White. I remember driving up to that game. Hair was standing up in my arms. I was getting ready to go after it with my brothers.
And I remember Cornerstone, we were warming up, and we see them walk down from community where they were warming up. And, you know, I remember Will Runge saying how he was going to pitch. Him and KC were going to pitch.
What kind of nerves did you have going into the game versus Wyckoff Green?
Oh, there was zero nerves. Honestly, again, we didn't think they were a threat. It was like we were playing our little brother, or little sister. So, yeah, there was zero. We weren't nervous.
Pretty sure Casey pitched for them. I don't know who we had. Maybe David, probably. That would make sense. I remember the first time I went up there against Casey, you know, didn't really like the ball coming in that fast. I think I tipped the ball, and that was like a huge accomplishment. And then I just went back to the dugout, and yeah, that was that.
I remember I go up to bat. I think we only got like 3 at-bats that time. First at-bat, I go up there. I hit a ground ball out. I'm like, this kid's not that good, you know. He's, you know, it's whatever. So then I go up next 2 times, 3 up, 3 down, you know, kid, you know, shut me down. What can you say? He's throwing down south at state, you know, there's not much you can do, but it is what it is.
It's a close game. It was close. I think we might have had to make a little comeback in the last inning.
I think we might have been tied, maybe up 1.
You know, I'll never forget Samson Kupferberg, just a high pop fly to center field.
Every single kid on our bench thought the game was over after that bloop shot.
John Hooley, out of all people, was playing center field. You probably want to have probably your best or fastest player out there. And John Hooley was neither of those.
Hit one to center that dropped, and that was a walk-off. I think it took us all a few seconds to realize that it was a walk-off.
It was an expected win for us. You know, it was Wyckoff Green in our home field, so it's a good win.
So, you know, I saw an opportunity to make an incredible play. It just did not go my way. With a rough play, rough ending to the game. And I try not to remember those moments.
He gave like a little didn't want it. It was like, oh, didn't catch it. That was bullshit. Fuck yourself, John. You did everything wrong during that game.
A lack of eye-hand coordination. Ball didn't get in the glove. Bases rounded. And Samson ended up hitting a walk-off.
Yeah, I think we definitely had confidence after that, or more confidence, because, you know, we heard about how good they were and how they were kind of the better Wyckoff team. So, I mean, I think us beating them definitely showed that we can play with the big boys and beat anyone.
After finishing in 5th place in the NJSBL State Tournament, the Green Raiders thought their season was over, with only 3 teams getting the invite to Connecticut. However, after circumstances that didn't allow 2 of the teams ahead of them to go, the Green Raiders got the green light to drive north of the border to Waterbury to play in the regional tournament.
Waterbury, Connecticut, I believe. I think Wyckoff White actually had the bid to that tournament, even though we had beat them. I think they had beaten another team to get the bid, but they couldn't go, so we were there.
Connecticut was a lot of fun. You know, that was the first time I went away with a team before. So, you know, we stayed at Coco Key where they had that water park. So a lot of memories there.
Well, actually, I wasn't in Connecticut. I was down in South Carolina with my grandparents, and that's when Will Runge took my spot. And I would just be getting the updates from my mom. She'd be getting texts back and forth with the parents. So that was really cool, just keep in touch.
That was really exciting. First couple games especially, we played pretty well. Everything was going well.
When we got there, it was a little bit of a surprise. Everybody playing with big barrel bats and 8 years old. And we didn't know what they were at the time, except we thought they were illegal, but come to find out they weren't. So maybe we got a little overmatched early on.
On the second to last day of the tournament, the boys were one loss away from elimination. The families checked out of the hotel, assuming they wouldn't have to stay another night. Little did they know, what some would call a miracle took place that afternoon, as one of the best games in Wyckoff history took place.
So down in Connecticut, when we played Clarkstown Stars, you know, it was win or go home. Like, if we didn't win that day, we were going home, tournament over. So we were like, hey, we gotta beat these guys. You know, Jason Gordon starting the mound.
Hey, we jumped out to a big lead, and
Willie Runge comes in to close after we had already given up an 8-run lead. Jason Gordon let up an 8-run lead. I'm sorry, Jason, if you see that. But let up an 8-run lead, 11-11. Will comes in to pitch. He can only pitch 1 out.
There was 2 outs and a run on first, and I made the play up the middle. Could have easily stepped on second, but saw Luke Ripken playing first. He was on the base getting ready, and I was like, you know what, might as well finesse it right now. Got up the middle, little 360, lasered to first, inning over.
Jeremy Swenson, I think, gets a game go-ahead RBI single in like the top of whatever the first extra inning was back then.
we brought in Marty Payne.
Marty Payne was the go-to guy at the time. You need someone to shut down, you would go to Marty Payne.
Get the first out. Somehow, I think I walk a guy. Some guy gets on second. Get another out. And then, 12-11. Last guy's up. 3-2 count. Throw the ball. Called strikeout. I just look to my left. I see all the coaches, and I think Klein was in there. All the coaches just jump up, hit their head on the ceiling. Big dramatic game. First time and only time we ever beat Clarkstown.
The crowd goes crazy. Everybody's going wild. We all pile on top of Marty Payne. We're playing tomorrow. We didn't win the championship, but we're playing tomorrow. That's all we cared about. We're staying at the water park one more day, and that's all you can ask for down there.
Will Runge and Marty Payne came up clutch for us in the end. And
In fact, many of them had planned their hotel rooms as if they were going to beat us, and we upset them, but some of them were even nice enough to give their hotel rooms to us, so they were good sports about it.
One of the more memorable things about that was so many parents never had faith in us, never thought we were going to win. They all checked out of the hotel. So all of them had to go crawling back to the hotel and check back in again and beg for their rooms back so we can spend the night with the coaches hanging out and celebrating, and with the parents and players hanging out in the water park so we could move on in the tournament.
The following spring, the boys headed south to Aberdeen, Maryland to play in a tournament at the Ripken Experience. This was one of the most elite tournaments out there, and a chance for the boys to see what they can do on a bigger stage.
Ripken was amazing. We went multiple times. The first time was definitely the sweetest. We'd be in the hotel, playing pool, elevator tag, all that kind of stuff. So that was really fun. Good time.
Yeah, I think Ripken was one of the highlights of my baseball career. We had a lot of fun down there.
A lot of good times at Ripken. Won a lot of games.
So that was really cool, especially playing on the main field, to see how it looked just like Camden Yards with the hotel behind and the green wall and everything like that.
I think just the dugouts were the coolest part, because before that we just had, regular high school average dugouts, but having, more of an MLB style dugout was really cool, and you kind of felt like a real MLB player.
It was really cool because we never played in a situation like that where we had a ton of fans, big turf field, scoreboard, all that stuff, professional dugout. So it was really cool for us.
Big field at Ripken, okay, yeah. I mean, first time playing in like a stadium-like field, really nice.
Do you remember we played a team from Pennsylvania that was pretty big, and they were pretty good, so it was a tough game.
I remember being really overmatched. We struggled a lot. It was cold, and I remember one play where the kid on the other team hit an inside the park home run where Mikey Sansetto was at shortstop, made a great throw to home plate to try and get the guy out, and Our catcher, I believe it was either Sampson or David Ring, tagged him out pretty clear. Thumb called him safe inside the park home run, and all of our parents were getting on him because he was a really large man, and they called him, I think, turducken, because I guess that's a really fattening meal.
I'd say my number one memory from Ripken is losing my entire bag, driving home without it. Lost the infamous lefty catcher's glove of my father's. Catcher's gear, bats, balls, helmets, you name it, I lost it. And that wasn't a proud moment for me.
Memorial Day 2010. What a beautiful day for hot dogs, burgers, and a baseball game that would go down in history. Wyckoff Green was in the championship game against a team from Queens. Queens had a player by the name of Nick Piero that was 5'10", could pitch harder, and hit farther than anyone the Green Raiders have ever seen before.
Yes, I do believe we might have faced off against him one or two other times before that. I mean, the kid was tall, lengthy, threw heat. It was tough competition. But I had respect for him. He was a good pitcher.
Yeah, I saw him play against Wyckoff White the night before, and I remember going to the game, and all the Wyckoff White fans were like, there's no way this kid's 10 years old. You know, he's unbelievable. He throws hard. He hits it far. And I just remember seeing him hit a home run, and I was like, I really don't want to play against that kid.
Piero, at that point, I think Piero was throwing harder than KC, and it was from even closer. Like, yeah, those fields were small. Piero looked like a man amongst kids.
Yeah, I think we did have a shot against Queens that day. You know, I thought we were playing good baseball at the time, and I thought, you know, it was definitely possible.
I did not think we had any shot against Queens. I thought, you know, they had Nick Piero, who threw harder than any 10-year-old I've ever seen. He was the tallest 10-year-old I've ever seen. Yeah, I didn't think we'd even get one single hit off of him.
Didn't really know if we had a shot. You know, you just play the game. Wasn't really thinking about whether or not we could beat them. Just thinking about playing the game and seeing what happens.
I'd say we were definitely the underdogs, that's for sure. We knew going in we were the underdogs. They had a lot of athletes.
The whole tournament, teams had been pitching their hardest throwing players against Queens, but it didn't seem to work for anyone. So, Coach Sincetta tried to change things up by throwing Jack Hagan, a softer throwing lefty.
Oh man. So I remember after our first game, it was a doubleheader. So after our first game, Coach Sincetta pulled me over and he was like, we're going to go with you this game. Just do what you normally do, which, you know, for me, back then I was throwing pretty slow. So I was just lobbing them in there, throwing strikes and hoping to get them out.
Yeah, we put Jack out there. We ran him out against Queens, against the kid who's playing for Seton Hall now. You know, it's all these other coaches. It's all about velocity. You know, how hard you can throw. You know, those guys never. You know, they're not pitching. They're just throwing, right? The most deadly pitch in all baseball, the changeup. So it's a Jack, changeup. That's what you need to be throwing out there.
We're playing against, I thought it was 12-year-olds that are walking onto the field, and they were just overall big guys. Like, this is the team we're playing. This is unbelievable. But then I thought in the back of my mind, we had Jack Hagan on the mound. There's no one better to be in that situation. You know, it was go time.
I remember Max Dimitovich got drilled in the shoulder by a Piero fastball, up and in, man. I was on third base, saw the whole thing happen. Didn't look fun.
I remember vividly Nick Piero hitting a moonshot into the trees in like the third inning. So, and that was when I was trying to pitch around him. We were trying to walk him, and I gave him one like high and outside, and he just leaned over and dinked it out there.
We put up a lot of runs against Nick Piero, and you know, something that Wyckoff White wasn't able to do, obviously. And
I remember throwing strikes, throwing very slow. They were hitting it hard, but our team made some plays.
I don't think he topped 45 miles per hour during the game.
They just couldn't touch him. Like, Hagan was just throwing it in there. They were whiffing. It had some nice like lefty spin action on it, and I didn't even need to come in.
I might have hit a dinger to right field while we were already winning by about 3 runs. Gave us some insurance.
In the last inning, the 6th inning, I remember I was very nervous to go out, and I was like freaking out. And I remember Mr. Gordon came over to me, and he just like gave me a really serious talk, and he was just like, do you want to do this? If you don't want to do this, we'll take you out right now, and we'll get someone else in there. And then I was like, I can do this. So then I went out, and the rest is history.
So I'm in my element, back in right field. You know, we're doing our thing. We're up. It's the 6th inning, and I just remember best moment probably for Wyckoff Green for me. You know, it's 2 outs in the 6th inning. Kid hits a ground ball through first and second. Ball's coming at me. I think in my back of my head, throw him out. Get the ball, beamer right to first base, throw him out.
Here's the video of the final play against Queens.
First base!
That's amazing.
Yeah, that brings back the memories.
Good old-fashioned base hit to right, throw him out at first.
David Ray!
Our pitcher, Jack Hagan, he shut them down. He got it done.
Samson, come to the bird!
We went out there and spanked Queens. Nobody thought we can do it, but you know what? You put out the pitchers. You don't put out the throwers. And again, Hagan rose to the occasion. We crushed those boys from Queens.
Awesome weekend. You just beat a very, very good team. Won the championship last year.
You know, seeing Jack Hagan, who's one of my best friends, seeing him go out there and dominate on the pitcher's mound, and you know, he was getting laughed at by the Queens players before the game, and for him to just go out there and put it to him, that was an awesome experience. And I'll never forget all the parents in right center field going nuts that entire game, especially when we won. That was one of my favorite moments in my childhood.
What more can you ask for in that season? Absolutely annihilated Queens.
Kyle Tubbs!
That's just awesome because that was actually the start of me and Harrison Klein's handshake, where we just do a little handshake celebration after every win, and we kept that up. Gosh, probably till the end of senior year.
Oh my God, there was so much tension. Everybody was so nervous, and we just didn't believe that you guys could pull it out. But you did, and it was so exciting. It was literally the most exciting game from the beginning up until the very end of baseball. I don't know, it was just excellent.
They actually beat Wyckoff White, so to know that Wyckoff White was at home getting the updates while we were playing the big team, it's a good feeling.
Sitting on the left-hand side of the hot tub in the Hooley's house, Mr. Hooley comes over. He's like, "Hey, Wyckoff Green just beat Piero and them." We were like, "What? Who pitched?" And he said Jack Hagan.
I just didn't think he could do it. Jack Hagan he's a good baseball player. And I didn't think he had it in him. And then when I heard that they took down the CP Stars, great job.
I had no idea who Jack Hagan was. I knew he was a lefty with some long, kind of flowish hair. But I couldn't believe they won or came close to anything, even being into the championship. Don't even get me started.
Mr. Ring is a great coach. I have nothing but faith in him. So, it was a good effort. And I was proud of my brothers, but also surprised.
Anybody who will tell you that White was a better team doesn't know baseball. Franklin Lakes? Seriously? Seriously? Franklin Lakes? I don't think so.
What was your favorite memory playing on Wyckoff Green?
I think going to Connecticut and being at Coco-Key with all those guys was fun, but I'd have to say beating Queens is my favorite memory, and taking down a team that I've never seen anyone beat. And, they were a super team at the time, so yeah.
Winning the tournament against Queens All-Stars against Nick Piero, that might top the cake right there. One of the best memories playing for Wyckoff Green, for sure.
Favorite memory had to be Connecticut. Just That was so fun. The hotel had a water park in it, Cocoa Keys. We didn't know who this Will Runge kid was, but he came out and performed like a top 3 player he was at the time. And we placed 3rd or 4th in that tournament, so it's pretty cool. We weren't even supposed to be in it, too.
Well, I mean, it's got to be the Queens game. You know, that was just a great day. Just being in the spotlight for just that whole game was great, because I was never really considered a pitcher before that, but once that happened, it really took off for me.
At the end of the day, there was only one Wyckoff Green. We dominated, we rolled through the season, we crushed the people in our way, beat them badly, won tournaments. What's better than that?
The rest of the summer was a good one for the Wyckoff Green Raiders, but what they didn't know at the time was that their 3rd season would be their last. Wyckoff Green would never play together again.
Come together.